everyone's
So should we all wave? No.
It's just Steve
Just
who
me
is
waving.
waving.
I'm waving.
I'm
smiling.
Steve.
It's
Solely Steve.
just too hot.
Too hot to wave.
If you would all like to entertain people while I just check that it's definitely running on Twitch.
Oh, see, we're
And
on.
then I
We
will.
are genuinely on.
Yeah, when I said I'm going to press the start
It
stream.
wasn't 100% clear.
I meant I'm going to press the start stream.
There was no countdown.
Hence the
There
waving.
Countdowns
I
are
waved.
good. That was really good waving.
It was
I
really.
thought
It was like
had a
two-handed.
nervous twitch.
Are we Mexican waving?
Oh,
Now you
No,
have to wave.
that
Yeah.
involves standing up.
Cool. Everything definitely seems to be working, and I have no reason to believe it's going to stop working now that I'm over here.
Are you going to keep an eye on it?
I
You
can
can't see
point
this,
that
call
our
us
way,
now.
but the thing is, if I point that our way, all anyone's going to do
Watch themselves.
is watch themselves.
This is true.
It's like Skype. You can't
Have
not
the
watch
little
yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Do
no,
you
it's
watch
true.
yourself on Skype?
Oh yeah.
If you've got the little box there, you
I
keep
had
your
to-
eyes.
Oh yeah,
keep,
you always end
your
up
eyes
watching
keep
yourself.
flicking.
I
It's,
had
it's
to
not
make
good.
myself the smallest I could possibly be so that I watched the other people.
I never
Well,
watch
welcome to
myself on Skype.
our D&D
I'm
content,
talking
everyone.
to someone. I want to look at them. No, just me. Okay.
I
just
want
gonna
to know
double-check
that I
that
don't look
everything's
terrible.
actually
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, cool. Good. Super professional.
Also, I assume that they're looking at themselves to make sure that they don't look terrible.
So the point of Skype is to talk while looking at yourself. I don't think that's what they. No.
Chloe, rescue this situation quick.
So these are the people I've brought together for a very creepy, weird, dark D&D one-shot.
Chloe,
It's
it's
definitely
so
going to
hot.
stay like that.
It's so hot, Chloe.
It's so
It's
hot.
So hot.
It's fine. You're about to be
Atmospheric.
on some icy marshes. You can imagine the cool temperatures.
I feel that's just cruel.
Yeah. For those who aren't aware, London is going through a heat wave at the moment, and we're sat in a room with all the windows closed.
Yeah, because otherwise you'd hear loads of trains throughout the entire stream.
Yeah.
So if we have more than one break tonight, it's because we just physically need it. But yes, hello, hi, thank you for coming and watching us play games.
I feel like we should have said we only have 6 ice cubes as well for the entire evening.
Yeah, we only have 6 ice cubes, and they're shaped like Darth Vader's head, which means that they actually melt very quickly, much quicker than normal-sized ice cubes do.
Some irony with Darth
Sith.
Vader melting faster than...
But anyway, so yes, hello, my name's Chloe, alongside Chris. I run Adventurers Wanted, and I'm going to be DM for tonight's one-shot. I don't know, should I say anything about it, or do we just want to leap straight into introducing characters? Because from what I've heard of voices and stuff, I'm quite keen to get to know these characters.
I mean, there's an intro text that we deliver before the game, and it can be totally professional and read out the intro text. That's a thing that could happen.
Sure, I will read out the intro text that outlines how things happen in live shows and
No,
our
not
relaxed
like
policy. Hi, we're Adventurers Wanted. Basically what we normally do is run D&D games. We have monthly shows. We are doing a stream up in Edinburgh, as we have done for the last couple of years. And also this is Mixtape. It's our monthly show where normally we're just playing loads of different RPGs each month. This month, as it happens, we're playing D&D, which is what we play a lot of the other time. But our patrons have voted on the exact one shot that we're doing. I think they had options between kind of sad shipwreck, creepy lighthouse, or mysterious jetty. And they went for creepy lighthouse.
Did you not vote? I didn't vote for this one. I voted for one of the other ones.
I think Mysterious Jetty is Peter Andre's really, really unfortunately titled second album.
Yeah, it really didn't work when he went onto inanimate objects. It really staggered. Anyway, so, to be honest, most of our intro text is normally about how things work in our live shows. But yes, we will be streaming probably for about 3 hours. We will have a little gap, definitely at least halfway through. We might have 2 because it's already incredibly hot in this room. But yes, so for anyone who's found their way onto this who doesn't know D&D, I'm the Dungeon Master, and basically I describe and play the world that each of these people find themselves in. They all have individual characters with individual strengths, weaknesses, etc., quirks, and we will see how they do in terms of exploring this world, dealing with obstacles, etc. They will be rolling different types of dice, of which many we have scattered about on tables, and rolling 1s is really bad, rolling 20s is really good. Numbers in between are somewhere on that scale. So, well, that kind of gets it across.
Yeah.
We also have genuinely the most delightful little dice tower that Shamini has bought. for this game. So yes, I would like to hear a tiny bit about your characters first, and then we will jump into actually the one shot itself.
Should we introduce ourselves as well?
Yep, if you can introduce yourselves, do remember to also to please give your own pronouns and your character's pronouns. For instance, my name is Chloe and my pronouns are she, her, and I will be playing people with a variety of different pronouns over the course of the game. Steve, would you like to kick us off? I've already set you halfway up.
I'm Steve. I use he, him. I will be playing Mel, who also uses he, him. How much do you want?
Yeah, how much detail?
Can you give us, we'll get to know Mel quite a bit, but could you give us just a little bit of flavour in terms of class, race, and maybe just a tiny bit about Mel's background?
Mel,
What was that?
What were you setting us up for?
I was clearing my throat. I thought I'd made that more than obvious.
I thought you were setting up this elaborate character voice that you had hidden and kept under your
that's
hat this
definitely what I thought
entire
as well.
time. And suddenly we're there going, I'm Mel. Like a really different voice.
It's
Now you're just Steve.
good that I'm being this disappointing this early.
Sets us up for how we go on then.
Right, Mel is... he is a monk, a feral tiefling monk of the Way of the Long Death. He is living under a as yet undefined to everyone else curse. He has been an acolyte at the Temple of Lathander, who is a life kind of domain deity.
Oh, Lord.
Awesome.
Is that enough?
Yeah, that's grand, just like a little taster.
Sorry, I typed acolyte on my phone, auto-corrected it to schoolgirl.
It's fine. It's definitely not going to influence the one shot at all.
Great. So now I've failed twice. Before anyone else has introduced themselves.
Shamini.
Hi, my name's Shamini. I use she, her pronouns. I am going to be playing Subramanian Clark.
What?
Subramanian Clark, obviously.
Subramanian.
My name is Subramanian. My surname is Clark.
Your surname is Clark.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, with an E. At the end.
Clerk?
No, Clark at the end. E at the end.
Although that would also work. No, they are. Well, it would work because they're a human barbarian bureaucrat.
What pronouns?
She, her. And yes, they're very into bureaucracy, forms, workflows, processes, efficiencies, stationery. Big on stationery. Desk plants.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting about the desk plants. Anyway. Cool, thank you. Emma.
I'm Emma. I use she, they pronouns, and I'm playing Ananta, who uses she, her pronouns. Ananta is a grave cleric, Kalashtar. She looks humanoid, and the way that I'm playing Kalashtar is that she is kind of interacting with a waking dream at all points, and for the sake of a one-shot being quite short, I'm also playing that as her god, as her deity.
Do I need to know what any of that means?
No. Just for story purposes, Shamini. Gee.
Cool. No.
Cool.
Kalash tarts. Written down.
Ananta.
Yes.
Just make sure I got that right. Cool.
Oh, I'm so copying your notes that I can't remember anyone's names.
Chris.
I'm Chris. I use he, they pronouns, and for this evening, my character, who also uses they, them, I think they, them pronouns is better for them, so I'll use they, them for them, is joyous.
How do you spell that?
Like joyous. The word joyous.
Cool.
Like joyous.
But said joyous.
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 Okay.
Joyous.
Joyous. Joyous.
Joyous is a lizard folk. He is a private detective. He has a cat called Watson. He His scales and skin seem to be almost calcifying on his flesh, and thus he walks very slowly. Also, one of his feet is slightly curled over, so he has a very cautious step. He speaks slowly and enunciates very carefully so that his teeth don't cut any of his lips, and where they do there is some scratching on the side. His illness, he is not sure where it is from or how it has affected him, but he has been told it is magical, and has thus stepped away with his friend Ananta to try and discover more about what has happened to him. Watson is also there at all times.
We've established that Ananta has had to save Watson from dying 4 times already.
Watson is simply a pet, no magic, no nothing. Just a normal cat in a D&D universe. I'm sure it'll be fine.
So, what brings the 4 of you together, obviously 2 of you have already started travelling with each other, is that for various reasons, whatever your own characters' ones may be, you are travelling to the land of Ansefel, which is essentially, for those who've never been there before, is famed for being a place of extreme magic, of hostile landscapes, of a place where magic has been exploited and twisted and used so much and over so many decades that it has changed the very landscape and made that land infused with magic, sometimes to your benefit, sometimes to your entire massive detriment. Even the weather there is often somehow magical. It is known almost as a place where the equivalent of ley lines converge. Is kind of a good way of thinking of it, which is why it's sometimes referred to as the woven net, where essentially the weave is stronger and more intense. It's not normally a place that people visit casually. However, people do sometimes go there to find their fortune, to prove themselves, to find someone who went there and has since failed to return. It is also there for anyone who wants to find out more about extreme forms of magic, or has maybe heard some of the rumours, some of the folk tales of the kind of bizarre things that happen in Ansefal, and wants to see them firsthand for themselves. So, your character may have any one of those reasons, but somehow you have all ended up on the Morai, which is a relatively small boat, one of the few that for a reasonable price will take travellers to the coast of Ansefal. And is manned by Rosenny and Gillian. Rosenny is a gnome and Gillian is a halfling. Gillian seems to be the one, as far as you can tell. You've probably been on the boat for about an hour or so. You know that there's only 1 or 2 hours more of the journey. And Gillian seems to be the one who's actually in charge. The entire boat seems to be kind of rigged for her to be able to run it as much as possible just by herself. So there's a lot of homemade kind of levers and jerry-rigged things to pull, so that pretty much from just one position near the rear of the boat, Gillian can kind of reach out, grab this, tie it round her elbow, and yeah, that's fine. And then if she just pulls on that, then that will do that. And Rosenny, up to this point, has kind of aided Gillian. Though how much she's genuinely aided Gillian is up for debate, but has started to, well, you will have definitely noticed this, because your passive perception is ridiculous.
Correct.
What is everyone else's passive perceptions?
13.
15.
Pause. 13.
21.
21. So to be honest, probably both Joyous and Anata spot this, is that Rosenny is shuffling some kind of deck of cards whilst working her way further to where you're all sitting.
Are we with other people, or is it just the 4 of
There's
us?
only you, Gillian and Rosenny on this boat.
Mhm.
Do you think would any of you be so inclined to start talking to the others? Or have you very much kept to yourselves so far?
What can I glean about these 2 with investigation or perception or insight or anything else in that way? Because I would be trying to find out more about the 2 people travelling with us.
Roll investigation.
Investigation
Yeah.
with guidance.
which is sort of weird dream spirits whispering in your ear.
I am used to it. Right, I rolled a 2 on the dice, plus 3 from the guidance, so that's 5,
Yeah.
plus my investigation is 15.
Stupid.
I'm happy for you both to answer that. What do you think they glean with a 15? Just about, and that's kind of about what kind of a person they are, and
It's not trying to pry or be rude or try and find out things that are secretive. It's more to get a sense of what kind of person you are.
So Subramanian is like sort of short brown lady who's taking quite enthusiastic notes regarding the workflow process that Gillian's set up. So it's very efficient and like quite impressive.
Precise?
In what way?
Would you describe your character as precise, detailed?
Yes.
Cool.
I'm going to start with the physical, what
Right.
you can see. I think Mel's kind of, not quite slumped, but kind of certainly back in a corner, cross-legged on the floor, slightly hunched over, but you can tell even then he's quite tall, quite thin with it. Kind of, and you can tell just he's got really kind of long, quite powerful-looking fingers. He's got long white hair, strong kind of but yet delicate features, high cheekbones, small intricate kind of curled horns. His skin is like a pale lavender, and it's got darker kind of mottling, almost like freckles, kind of on the cheeks and face. You can't see his arms, and kind of on his legs and a little bit on his chest. He's like a tall, a fantasy Nick Drake.
Yeah,
People know
gotcha.
Nick Drake.
Yeah.
So he's kind of very tall and gangly looking, and he's fairly still. But when he looks kind of awkward and a bit hunched. But when he moves, it's all kind of soft and gentle and flowing.
Coiled. Yeah.
He's not necessarily quick, but it's just fluid.
Live.
He's wearing a kind of a light grey, very worn, tattered, long overcoat with long sleeves, and kind of long, kind of just below knee length, probably kind of slightly tattered, same colour grey shorts. His legs are then showing beneath. He's got soft kind of grey leather boots on and white hairs on his legs and a bit on his chest also. His chest is kind of very, very taut, kind of midriff, very kind of lithe and strong. But and you can just see, probably the 15, you can just see a couple of glimpses of colour underneath his sleeves.
Right.
He looks calm and kind of collected and just not happy. Happy is too strong an emotion, but he is comfortable where he is.
Interesting. What do you think to our companions?
They look fine. I want to know about the cars. Did you see them?
No, I was busy looking at the people.
Roseni is coming closer, and I think, to be honest, how obviously are you intrigued by the cards? Have you been looking at them?
Yeah, I'd look at them.
Cool. In that case, she does make a beeline for you. Still just shuffling, incredibly short, but like wearing very. There's a mix of clothing that it's partially hardy. I often just sail, so a lot of kind of thick leathers and stuff and things to obviously keep her quite warm. But equally, very elaborate earrings, quite a lot of jewellery, and it's all stuff that has a lot of images. There's a lot of kind of like animals and imprints and such like.
Does she look like she used to do the same? She does the same thing that I used to do, which is read tarot cards to people.
You may think She has something akin to fortune telling cards in her hand, yes. And comes up to you and goes, so the journey can be quite long and boring, but do you fancy having your fortune read?
Well, it'd be interesting to have someone do it for me for once.
Oh, so you're familiar. Oh, fantastic. Oh, what do you... Okay, so runes or tarot or which type?
Well, I always used to do the cards.
Ah, all right. Well, I'll have to do a good job, won't I? Right. Okay. Could you please roll a d100?
Sure.
As she starts turning cards over, shuffling them, and it's something that's akin to kind of real world tarot, but is slightly.
Can I roll an insight check to see how genuine she's being?
31. Sure. My passive insight is 18, by the way.
Mhm. And what did you roll on the d100?
31.
18 for my insight roll as well. So
Totally sincere.
interesting.
She is very much sincere about this whole thing. I mean, and you look at like the little signs of not that it's not arcana, but
yes,
that kind of paraphernalia on her. So 31. Right, okay. So, and they're not pictures that you recognise as she turns over. There's a lot of things that look initially kind of foreboding. There's one of a volcano that's erupting. You can see the lava kind of flowing forward. There's one of the entrance to a cave. And there's also the image of just like a face coming up from the waves. Right, so what this means is that in your immediate future, Hen, is a discovery, a kind of enlightenment that is going to be visited on you, some kind of fresh or new knowledge.
It's always encouraging.
Yes, exactly. It's nice to be able to give people good news. Some people don't take it as seriously, for one, and some people can react quite, I'm sure you know, quite strongly when it's not really something that they want to hear. Right,
How do the runes work?
Oh, they're not quite runes, but I can show you. It's essentially like intuiting the world and letting the world show you what is about to come on you.
I am intrigued.
Right, right, okay, so I'm going to study. Shuffle the cards afresh, actually, won't you?
They reach out, their hands are clearly bandaged in places, and movement is clearly painful for them as they reach for the cards, and if you wouldn't mind.
Oh, right, no, that's absolutely... What I'm going to ask you to do is just hold them, just between your hands, just so it can take a little bit of you, and then takes the cards back. Roll a d100. Because if there's anything that distinguishes me as a DM, it is making people roll d100s quite a lot.
25.
Right. And what you see on the cards that Roseni has laid out is there is someone who has a bandage over their eyes. It's like a face, except bandage over their eyes. You have someone stood on an island, just like a small figure on an island. And you also have someone at the base of a set of stairs looking upwards at them. Right, so you were overhearing what I was telling your friend, obviously, about sometimes it's not always good news. So what I'm getting a sense of here is of some kind of a restriction or imprisonment. Obviously that doesn't mean prison. Sometimes it's more of a spiritual imprisonment.
The bandages, hands raised, are all over, and I think I see what they refer to.
Right. Well, it obviously, maybe it just means that's continuing into the future. Maybe it's something different, but it's obviously a big feature of your life.
I have hopes it will change.
Right.
Maybe it will not.
Well, I'll hope for you. Right. I'll just see if anyone else is. Very, very nice pet you've got there.
This is Watson.
Watson, right.
It's a liability.
Oh.
Watson
right.
is kind.
Yes, Watson is kind.
Right. I'll leave you the two of you to it. And I hope, obviously, enlightenment, and I hope your situation shifts.
You are very kind too.
Right. Well, thank you. Thank you.
She is genuine in her beliefs about reading the cards.
Do you want any coin?
I can hear. I'm sorry. Do you not think I can hear you?
Would you like any coin?
Oh no. Do it for fun. Something that changes things up. It's nice meeting the different people that go on our little ship. You know, it keeps me out of Gillian's hair, doesn't it, Gillian? And Gillian, who's just like tied up and is like, yep.
I did not mean offence.
Oh no. None taken. I'm sorry to see about your etc. Right. And starts kind of turning around and
Her
will.
enjoyment is genuine too.
Is either of you actively looking away, or is either of you actively quite interested? Because this hasn't necessarily been conducted very quietly or privately.
No, not.
I'm looking at Gillian.
Oh, okay. Are you looking for
Taking
anything
notes.
in particular? Oh, just how Gillian is managing to operate.
In great detail.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think as you roll like an investigation, I guess.
12.
There's kind of a few times where you'll feel the boat kind of rock a little bit, and then you'll see, Gillian's given herself just enough slack so that's still around there, and she can reach that. Oh, I see. And what she's done, she's attached two things to that little kind of pedal so that she can push it down, and that will do both of those things. And that a lot of the things that Gillian has had to do is adapt this for her height, because she's only about 3 foot. So that's the main thing that's happening. What are you taking the notes down in? Do you have like a kind of a file of facts or something like a file of facts?
Like a little notepad that you would get from a stationery cupboard. I realise this pencil is literally stolen from my accuracy.
Cool. In that case, Rosanni probably sees it that you're studying what's happening over there, and does slowly approach you. Would you like your fortune told? It makes the journey go a little bit faster.
I think Mel would stand up and sees
Oh,
her
hey.
approaching. Largely because I forgot to describe two things. He's had a very thin, long quarterstaff resting on his lap, made of a very kind of a grey silver wood. It's quite thin, so you place that up next to him and kind of get up kind of slowly but yet still fluidly, and you realise that some of the hunch in his shoulders is actually a bulk underneath his overcoat. I saw you with the other two over there.
I yes.
I would be quite intrigued, actually.
Right, good. Right, so well, if you shuffle these yourself, is that all right?
Yes, of course.
Just let's see. Means that the dates are tricking. Oh my! Right. Oh. Could you please roll a sleight of hand check for doing fancy card tricks?
Ooh.
There's going to be a lot of picking up of dice. Isn't there? Oh, hang on. My new phone's doing something strange. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm just building up the tension.
that's fine.
Steve's got a new phone, guys. It's great. He has no idea how it works.
Text.
10. I think basically you probably think that this looks way better in your head.
Oh.
It's not like you haven't dropped stuff all over the floor. It's some very average shuffling. So you
Yeah.
are able to do like the bit where you take two piles of cards and you them together and stuff. But that's basically. It looks like you're trying to treat that as, and all that kind of stuff.
So I've spent too much kind of getting them in order afterwards. Just like,
I think just so the cards get to know you a wee bit. Right, roll a d100 to see what.
Can't see you're a cocky bastard.
71.
Ooh.
Okay.
No idea.
Puts out 3 cards. And the first one is essentially 2 hands holding each other. the second one, you can see it's kind of, it looks like two figures, but each one's kind of half drawn, so it's like a ghost within a ghost. And then the final one is essentially, it's a small box with a single coin inside that box. Right. Well, this is, hopefully this shall be intriguing as well. What this is saying to me is that in your very near future is something akin to, it's a new friendship, it's a bond that's made. It's someone who either reaches out to you or that you reach out to. So that's essentially, I mean, it's all very warm and fuzzy, you might say. But that's what I'm getting for you, hun.
Yes, that seems about right.
Yeah. Are you going to Ansefal to visit someone or meet someone? Is that why?
I tend to meet a lot of people.
Right. Lots of new friends. Well, I hope you have a pleasant time there, as pleasant as you can, trying to find and meet folk. There are some there that are a wee bit strange, frankly. But I'm sure you seem to have your wits about you and seem, taking your time, watching the world go by, etc. Right.
Excuse me. I would be very interested in talking to the intellectual property owner related to the functioning of this here vehicle.
I'm sorry. You just say that one more time for me. Intellectual prop.
Yes, the design of the boat. Who would I talk to about the invention relating to that?
We bought it up in Lucera, but all of the adaptations are Gillian's work.
That is I would be very, very interested in possibly taking down some notes around it. I think this could be very useful. I do.
Oh, do you work in boats yourself?
No, but I could find someone who does work in boats and I could sell him the idea. Less staff, less costs.
Oh, I see.
Very
Is that you're a merchant of the intellectual properties?
Oh, well, just a little side business, I suppose you could say, always looking for efficiency savings.
Oh, I see. Right. So lots of jargon that goes right over my head.
You want things to be more efficient.
Oh, I see.
More efficient is good.
Absolutely. Can't disagree. Gillian, do you have time to speak to someone? Again, cut to Gillian and just like
upside down.
the weirdest poses. Just go, well, yeah. Right, well, I suppose if you want to just head up, she can have a chat with you. Right. And you can kind of like creak your way along the boat. And it's more, there's just like a certain covered area where you've got the main ship's wheel and bits and pieces like that. It's a very weird amalgam of different boats that I have in my head.
Hey.
Cool. Yeah. And Gillian, much more practically dressed than Roseni, is currently like tied up, like 1 foot on one pedal, 1 foot holding something else down, one arm holding 2 ropes, and the other one with a rope round her elbow as she's trying to hold the ship's wheel. Yep.
Hello. Is all of this your creation?
Yep.
It is most fascinating. I am just terribly interested in all of this.
Yep.
Getting some more details of how it works. Perhaps being able to transfer some of your genius into other areas.
Right.
That's one person, you see.
Yep.
Quite a small person. How much would you say you eat in a day?
Just food. I just eat some food.
In weight.
I don't weigh it.
We can work that out.
Stretching back. What's your passive insight? I very rarely actually resort to this, but it'll be 10 plus your insight modifier.
10.
Okay, that's fine.
Gillian's well into this conversation. I can tell. I start asking her quite a lot of details about the specific mechanisms and
as most as possible.
Notes.
Gillian only says, "Yeah." as like occasionally, no, and then we'll then say yeah. Is there anything else anyone urgently wants to do?
There's a cat curling around your legs slightly, just doing that sort of figure of 8 weave.
Not everybody wants to meet your cat. You should ask first.
It is a ruse to find out more about them.
If they like cats or not. Do you like cats?
Yes, I find them quite peculiar. A little enigmatic, a little... You never know quite what they're going to do. I've seen a lot in my time, and so something that can often surprise me is welcome.
He has mixed feelings about cats.
He does not have mixed feelings about cats. He likes cats. This is a positive. The way we treat animals says a lot about us. Watson, come back. Runs up again, not moving very much because it's painful. So it runs up and Watson definitely claws their way up, but scales don't matter, and sits on the shoulders again. My apologies.
I'm Ananta. This is
Joyous. And this is Watson.
Yes, I've met Watson. My name is Mel.
Mel, you have many of the bearings of a tiefling, and elements I do not recognize. Perhaps some mixed parentage?
Do you know, I can't remember.
Ah, interesting.
not really a question that one asks.
Is it not?
No.
Apparently I lack in what Ananta calls social graces.
Yes, but I find them overrated.
Then we will get on very well.
That's true.
It's about this point in the conversation with you. I say conversation. that Gillian suddenly just calls out, "Row!" And then Roseni, looking very different to you, how you've seen her so far, which is just kind of wanting your own. That's Roseni. Oh, classic Roseni. And then just her face shifts a little bit, and she immediately beelines back for Gillian. Slightly. She actually kind of pushes you out the way.
Excuse me.
Right, I'm here, Hen. What do you need? And Gillian just starts saying, "Okay, pull that lever, and now that one, and that one needs to go to 2, and this needs to go to 3. Yeah, it's another one again. It's another one again."
Does need 2
I believe
people.
we are in trouble.
Does need 2 people.
And
that's a downside.
It doesn't. I mean, it'll change who notices first.
Can I find some kind of cover?
You can go. There is only like one
Covered bit.
level underneath the ship, which is just kind of a general cargo hold, which you can go to, as you realise that clouds seem to be swarming and coming in at quite a pace.
I mean, I move quite slowly, and I'm not particularly physically able, so it would be kind of a slow rise, like a really slow walk over to the cargo bay hatch, like not being stealthy or secretive at all about it. Just like someone said, not good. I'm gone below. Like it's that's all. It's not even particularly subtle about it.
Cool. So you're not being subtle about it. Gillian is too busy to notice and advise you.
How much food would you say you both eat per week?
Ananta, maybe beneath deck is safer. Help me with this.
Are you sure? Then if we're below and it breaks, is that safer?
I don't know. I am not au fait with boat travel.
Well, why don't we ask?
This is a good idea. What should we do?
I don't know weights of things, Hen. Sorry, what?
Volumes?
For a halfling in a gnome amount.
Where is the safest place for us to be?
Right, to be honest, you want to try and probably, you want to find a secure spot. Don't go below, because then if something happens, it's harder for you to get out. Right?
This is a good point.
Okay, so, Gillian. Yep. Where's the best place for people to be if they want to protect themselves? Round the back. and just points back. And underneath this kind of covered area where Gillian has been pulling loads of stuff, it's not... It's just literally, there is a low bank of a bench and some cover that comes up, just like wooden cover that comes up, and it will give you a tiny bit of cover without having to actually go below deck.
My new friend, I believe, over there is indicated. Would you like to accompany us?
Yes, that might seem like the best course of action at the moment.
I think
The
we should-
boat is now starting to actually like
Can you help
rock.
me? Can you help me get them?
Oh,
They're not
Certainly.
especially mobile.
I'll kind of bring out my quarterstaff to kind of and arm to kind of help you.
I'll
all
definitely put weight on it. Roll me an insight check.
23.
I'm putting more weight on you than I necessarily need to.
You probably want to go protect yourself, Hen.
Yeah. Would you say that the accident rate was increased by the decreased crew numbers? Because that will need to be taken into account.
Roll me a deck save.
Rocks fall.
Because everyone else is going to the same place.
Oh no.
This dice really like sixes. So 7.
Cool. Basically, as a wave suddenly buffets the ship, Gillian and Rosenny are both holding onto things or tied into things, and everyone else is making their way to this area, so I'm going to allow that, like, there are bits closer to it that allow you to hold onto stuff,
Sure.
but you all feel it. You take 1 point of bludgeoning damage just because you get thrown to the side of the ship, and you're left sprawled on the floor. You want to get to the back of the ship, Hen?
Oh, yes. That's a good idea. Okay.
And if I see that, and once I've got them safely to the secure area,
Thank you very much.
Mel would turn around and come back for the straggler.
Nice.
It's like, oh,
Yeah.
why is the ground moving?
So you suddenly see like a thin grey quarterstaff hit the deck in front of you. Do
Oh.
you need assistance?
Yeah, I'm trying to get over there, but everything keeps moving.
Or maybe we should move with it.
Okay.
So your tactic is to move with it. Could you please roll me a attack save, both of you? So I'm assuming that you're both now
Oh yeah.
sat. You're at least kind of holding on to things.
Oh,
You're
that's
secure.
not good.
I start to hold my breath.
Sure.
I can hold my breath 15 minutes, just FYI.
Right. Okay.
You, Chris, can hold your breath.
No, less than 40 seconds. I'm a smoker. It's not good.
15 for me.
Oh, God. Yeah, I'm so glad I came to help you.
Oh.
That's 13. It's a 6 on the dice.
Okay. A 13 and a
15.
15. Right. You don't take any damage, but you are basically
Ow.
being thrown to the very edge of the ship,
Oh, no.
and feeling like you're in danger of actually going off the edge. As this now becomes incredibly more violent. The
dear.
clouds have now fully covered over the ship. You can see about 30 feet in front of you, unless you've got dark vision, in which case you can see past that kind of darkness and that fog. And everyone roll me, I don't know whether, a nature check, technically. It's kind of history, it's kind of nature, but it's to do with weather, so we'll go nature.
Oh.
Guidance.
It's the third 6 I've rolled. And not that many more.
7.
It's a 5 on the dice for a 4.
19.
19.
9.
9. You're the only one who's ever heard of this kind of phenomenon, basically, and it's probably, maybe you read about it when you're preparing to go to Ansfal or something, but this would be something called weave winds, which are basically unnaturally strong storms that sometimes carry magical effects. Sometimes that magical effect just manifests in something that would look natural, like lightning, but is actually enhanced by magic. You know that they typically last for quite some time, and that your best bet will be to try and stay on the boat, but your chances might actually not be that strong, and then it's a case of who do you want to try and make sure you don't get separated from during the weave winds.
Would it be dangerous to cast magic?
It's not dangerous to cast magic, no. It won't distort magic. It just is its own magic, like an NPC.
Just because it's gotten dark, I would cast light.
Okay. What do you cast light on?
Probably part of the ship.
Cool, like just like some planks or some kind of outcrops or things like that.
Just so people can see.
For just the sake of things aligning, can it be that you two get thrown to the side and it just like lights up beneath you?
Oh. Safety lighting, that's very good actually.
Do you know what this is?
I'm trying to write it down.
It's, I think I read about it when we were coming. Wind weaves, weave winds.
That sounds dangerous.
Storms that go on forever. We need to tie to each other, and
Cradle Watson.
you need to tie the cat to you. You probably need to tie the cat to me.
Are you tying me to you as well?
Yes.
Go ahead.
What am I going to tie you to me with?
I don't know.
It's a ship.
There is
Pick
no
up-
rope on this
Pick
ship.
up the rope next to me. How about this rope?
I'm going to allow that there is spare rope from Gillian's many experiments.
I tie us together very securely.
Mm-hmm. Can you please roll me a sleight of hand check for how securely?
I guidance myself.
Uh-huh.
Sure.
When you say
I'm
us, do you
tying
mean...
Watson as well.
Okay, yeah, all three of you.
Okay. Is Watson just like one tie around
No.
the midriff?
I'm
How is that
tied
working?
around the arms and I'm holding Watson instead.
Okay.
Nope, that's bad. That's 9 altogether.
9. You're really confident in the knots that you have tied.
I think this is good.
Can I investigate the knots?
Sure.
It is not good.
No, I'm sure that this knot is good. Oh, I tied it the wrong way around.
Do you want to try again?
As you're approaching, this is what you see happening. Like as everything is starting to become almost maelstrom like, there's two people kind of.
So I'm just rolling an animal handling check for myself to keep Watson calm.
Yeah.
It's a nat 20, so it's fine.
Oh, it's hard when it's like this.
There is not a lot we can do in this situation. Maybe this is the special thing the cards read for you.
What enlightenment? Suddenly I learn I can't tie knots. Shit enlightenment.
You see things so negatively sometimes, Ananta.
I would
If
like.
you
I
like,
don't
I
need
could
your-
try
I
and tie
don't
us all
need-
together.
Sure, as long as the cat can be tied in as well.
I would feel
I'll see
secure
what I
in
can
tying us
manage. If
together.
not, I'm sure I have quite capacious pockets.
Here, don't be worried about the whispering.
Oh, I don't hear any whispering. Should I be worried? I'm not hearing
What does the
whispering.
guidance give now?
It's just someone like, almost like as if you feel someone whispering in your ear and another pair of hands on top of yours.
Is it? So is it someone specific from my memory, or
No.
is it? It's just
No.
in an. Right. Okay.
So this is to tie everyone together.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Yes.
You
It's,
fall.
sleight of hand.
Not that 20.
These are very good knots.
It's surprising. I think what you may also do, though feel free to colour this yourself, is that you use the sheer motion of the boat to help tighten the knots. So it's kind of like you lean forward and then as you're pulled back, that
Nice.
pulls them tighter.
Nice.
Which is why you end up with like everyone, I'm assuming like midriffs and stuff, apart from one person who will not be able to use their arms. If anything
can't
happens.
anyway.
I can't anyway.
So I would like everyone to make a dex save for me, please. DC's getting higher as now like waves are actually just crashing over the deck itself.
Non-nat 20.
Non-nat 20.
5.
I should just leave this on.
8.
5, 8.
21.
Non-nat 20.
It's not litheness or dexterity, it's just balance. It's just careful counterweighting against where everything is.
Yeah. What starts happening as the storm gets more intense is that the two of you, the anchors on the outside, are managing to at least kind of stay in the same place with the boat, whereas the two of you in the centre are just getting like whipped around basically.
If they can't use their arms, we probably wouldn't have tied them on the outside. I know we're sat in this order, but
True.
it wouldn't.
They wouldn't be grabbing.
make
I'll
sense.
allow that to be retconned. In that case, is it just an atta on the end?
Probably, yeah.
Cool. In that case, you in the middle and you on the end are just getting like
Yeah.
whipped around to a degree that's quite painful.
I think I would have left my arms free, so tie around the waist, but then with my arms free and the quarter stuff out, so I'd like to try and use it just to kind of counterbalance and kind of get a bit of reach to kind of balance everyone.
Can I assist Ananta in checks? You can't assist in a saving throw, can you? It's assisting in a check.
I don't think you can assist in a
Just has
saving
nothing
throw.
like- Okay, well, I will be, if for case of effect, I will be helping Ananta with checks of any kind as an action for this point onwards.
Cool. As everything starts to get
wobbly this.
more intense, I need everyone to make me a con saving throw.
Sorry.
As basically waves are now hitting into the very ship, and they're starting to. You can feel the ship getting pushed down as well as from side to side.
It's a 19 on the dice, so that's an 18 for me.
Mine's a 16.
16.
18.
15.
Ooh.
Oh wow. Okay, so it's just one of you.
Oh.
It's essentially you're not unconscious or anything, but you struggle to breathe because you breathe in water as this
Oh,
huge
no.
wave.
I'm holding my breath.
You're holding your breath. I know you're holding your breath, but the con save is partially also
The
you're
gasp.
getting hit
Yeah, the
with
gasp.
such,
Yeah.
as I just demonstrated, you're getting hit with such force
Sure,
that
that's
it's
fine.
physically gonna also like hit you in the chest
Totally fine.
and you like briefly. I'm gonna say that you have disadvantage on your next check or saving throw because you are just left gasping for air. As now you're
Ooh.
starting to feel a mix of both being on the ship's deck and also floating.
Do I roll for the cat?
Yes. Thank you for reminding me. This is a con save.
Watson rolled a 9.
Watson rolled a 9. Right. Watson is currently... I'm going to treat Watson a little, like, not strictly death saves or anything like that, but at the moment Watson is just unconscious. It's just that the sheer force of that against quite a small body, and yes, you've got your arms there, but it's just more constriction and like pushing on them.
Okay.
Spare the die.
They're not dead, but they're unconscious.
Spare the die.
So they're fine.
I don't actually have to touch anything to spare it anyway. But
Is it second nature now?
But just-
Oh, that was an effect that may have hurt me. Spare the dying on the fucking cat.
The storm starts closing in even more, and as much as you can try to kind of stay, it's starting to tear the ship apart. So it then becomes a case of it's impossible to balance, it's impossible to protect yourselves. You're still tethered to each other, but as the waves
grabbing
start
people as
overwhelming you, you might be grabbing onto each other's hands, you might be grabbing onto each other's shoulders, anything like that. You can feel yourselves being buffeted around, but these little kind of pockets of stability where you can feel the rope tautening because you're still attached to that person, and things go dark. And I need fresh con saves from each person, including Watson.
Yep.
oh no.
Oh, crap.
Huh.
I rolled a 7.
9.
6. Watson rolled, unbelievably, a 19.
This is possibly the best this could have gone. So 6,
9.
9.
I rolled two
Actually,
16s.
A 7,
so,
not that it
wow.
Okay,
So
so
it's, I think, for a 17. But I
okay,
did
so
roll a
Watson is a 19,
Yep.
17, 9,
7.
7,
6.
6. Okay, so Steve, you awake to the feeling of a cat licking your face.
Yay!
Over your body because Watson was the first to regain consciousness and has managed to crawl out of your arms.
Let's make it
You're on
biscuits
your
again.
back.
Mm-hmm.
It is incredibly uncomfortable and incredibly cold beneath you. You're looking up at a sky that is still overcast and still somewhat threatening. There is rainfall constantly flicking at your face. And if you start to try and lift yourself up, Watson is kind of padding around on top of you quite affectionately.
Biscuits.
Making biscuits. And if you start to... Do you lift yourself up?
I think first he says, "Well, hello, what's up, Watson?" And
Watson kind of, and then goes back to what they're doing.
and then he'd try and lift himself up and take a look around. So
Oh.
just kind of up on as far as he could up first.
The energy's been still knocked out of you. Could you make a perception check for me, please?
Oh, nat 20.
Nice.
Hey.
Nice.
You manage to look past, because initially it feels like there's almost too much light, but you just blink and then you're fine. You are on what looks like a frozen marsh with light occasionally glinting off the ice that covers everything. There is still a storm overhead, but it feels like now you're more on the edge of it. Occasionally, though, you hear some very dull rolls of thunder and see a crackle of lightning. Looking around you, it is flat. There is very little to see apart from kind of up ahead, almost to your right, there is, you'd assume, a lighthouse from the size and the shape of it and where it's positioned, because just further than that you can see out to some waves that are still rolling in the sea, and you are still tied together because it was a very good tie, and next to you, presumably unconscious, hopefully they're just unconscious like you were, is everyone that you were travelling with, though you can't see any sign of the Morai or Gillian or Roseni. It is only the people you were tied to and Watson.
I'd like to untie the rope and then pick up my quarterstaff and check on the...
Just because it was such a good tie, could you just roll me, it's not a high DC, but just to check to actually successfully untie it, because it was very well tied.
Is that against sleight of hand? Or?
Yeah.
How was that? 16.
Oh yeah, that's no problem. So you untie yourself, you get out your quarterstaff.
And checking for signs of life and...
Roll medicine?
14.
14. They're all breathing. You can see that it's all
Kind of
raising
very
up.
comfortably breathing rather than...
No one's
kind of
No
on
one
the
seems
edge
to be
of
super
anything.
strained, no.
Yeah, okay. So there's no shelter other than the lighthouse. There's no.
You can't see anything
warmth
else,
other
no.
than the lighthouse.
And very occasionally, there's another lightning bolt that strikes just a little bit too close to be comfortable. You realise that when you're standing up, you feel very tall in this incredibly flat, desolate, frozen marsh. Who was the next on the... It was... you start to come to, and you see her slightly shift and begin to wake.
No.
Are we in any way injured?
Ow.
It appears that the boat was less efficient than you had hoped.
I did ask someone to check the safety record before. Oh, I must make a note of the safety. Where's my notepad? I look for my stationery. Make sure all my stationery's still there.
Roll investigation. And yes, you're fair. Could you roll a d6? And could you also roll a d6?
I have a natural 20 on stationery.
So, natural 20 on stationery. You're fine. It's where you put it in that pocket. It has the buttons that keeps the pocket closed, and so nothing can get in or out if you don't want it to. So that's all fine. Those d6 rolls, you took that much bludgeoning damage while you were unconscious.
Dear.
And you, I'm happy for you to see roughly what Steve's character thought. If you are sharing that information, that's fine.
Mm-hmm. This is a bit of a new place for me. There seems to be a lighthouse of some description.
Are you dead?
They seem to
Are
just
you
be
dead?
unconscious.
Could you just roll a con save, which is basically how lightly you're sleeping in terms of being like shoved?
I mean, I got it under 6.
Sure. You are woken by... Are you dead?
Oh, no.
No, I think I would know if I was dead.
I can tell, I can tell.
I'm pretty certain someone would have told me.
Oh.
Yeah, they would definitely have told me.
Efficient system, I like it.
D6 for damage.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, a 1. That's a 5. It minus to 1.
We appear to have been the victims of an unforeseen incident.
It was not unforeseen.
Wasn't it?
No, I mean, they saw it coming, they just didn't tell us.
Oh.
They can't tell us everything. I mean, if they told us everything, it would be no fun.
Was it foreseen before we left the dock, though? I feel like at that stage, if they hadn't mentioned it, I do think that that's something perhaps we ought to ask before we get on the next boat.
Well, maybe
Oh,
you could check with
not-
them next time you see them.
I will. That's a good idea. I will ask them that. That would be good
I
to
think
know.
we're talking about different people.
Oh right.
Did the cat survive?
Oh yes, Watson's around here somewhere.
Oh, thank goodness for that.
In fact, he seems to have suffered fewer ill effects than the rest of us.
Yes. Watson looks a bit rough. 1 point. Very lucky.
Well, he has 2 hit points, yeah.
The lightning is getting closer.
Oi, the
You
cat's
realise.
not dead.
Right, I think it's about
Do
time
you wake them up with that?
Can I opt to roll 2d6 instead of 1 because of my condition?
Why?
Because it's realistic.
I'm
Is
really unwell.
So is your condition one that basically makes you more prone to injury?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
No one else has any healing spells.
9.
No.
Oh, and you had very few hit points for a 5th level character to begin with.
Correct.
How many are you on now?
14.
But you are shaken awake.
How much do you hurt?
The skin isn't sort of moving, it cracks and tears, so there's lots of like small fissures and cracks and tears all over, and the movement is pained, very slow rising. I have felt better.
I suggest we transport ourselves to someone with a more optimal temperature situation.
Yeah, you notice that it is unpleasantly... I know this is a weird concept to throw in to Dable Days. It's unpleasantly cold.
I stay outside.
First level cure
Hang
wounds.
on, I'm a lizard. Feels nice.
First level cure wounds.
I think
lizards
even
need
for
heat,
a
don't
lizard,
they?
cold temperatures, sure. This is
Too cold. Okay.
frozen and there's nothing
10.
else.
You get 10 hit points back.
The lizard people like
Back to full
cold
health?
places.
Cold blood? Cold blood?
Cold
Yeah,
blooded.
that means you need your heat in order to warm yourself. They're like cold places. They're like warm places.
Oh.
There are more, I'd say, variety of lizards in. I don't know if I'm me or my character anymore. I think you'll find.
I think they sort of get up
And
slowly,
bask in
straighten
the
their
sun.
back. I believe we should be heading away soon, as discussed. You said lighthouse. Can I roll a perception check to see the lighthouse? I mean, I have a passive of 21. Do I see the lighthouse?
Yeah, you see the lighthouse. It is the only thing, really, that you can see here, apart from frozen marshland and waves beyond the coast.
I mean, if you can't see a lighthouse, it's not a good lighthouse.
It's
Just,
Is it on?
just say.
No, is it
Is it
on?
on?
from where you're standing, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
But from where you're standing, you are essentially at the rear of the lighthouse.
It's a joke.
They're lit up to see.
No,
We're
they're
standing
lit up so
behind
you
it.
can see.
No, they're lit up to see. We're standing behind it.
Oh, I see.
Why don't we just go there?
I misunderstood your usage of sea.
We go there.
It's not that hard. Like, you can't go very quickly because it's a little bit difficult terrain because
I will
it
also
is
slow everyone down.
slippery and such like. And so you're basically trying to get there as speedily as possible given your restrictions. Because your passive is redonk.
21.
As you get closer, what you thought were rocks that kind of were near the base of the lighthouse. Maybe it was a rocky outcropping that the lighthouse was built on. Maybe it was some rocks there to reinforce. It's piles of rotting food. It's not rocks. Additionally, the paintwork on the lighthouse looks in decay. It looks rotten. It looks like it's been flaking away for a little while now. It looks incredibly weathered by the sea. And one of the things that you notice, and this is where you're about 30 feet away from the door at the base of this lighthouse. You can explore around the front and such like if you want to, but you're still currently just at the rear. You probably see the flicker, like some kind of movement or something, because again your passive is so high around the front that you can't quite tell what it is. But
I move
underneath,
towards the front.
okay, so you're aware.
Yep.
At about 30 feet towards the back of the lighthouse, something frozen beneath the ice of the marshlands. You can see what look like humanoid bones.
What do you think?
I think we should not go in there.
What? No, we should go in there.
Look beneath the ice.
Oh. What's that?
That is a corpse.
Why is there a corpse there?
The bones aren't arrayed like a skeleton.
Just
I mean, you can
bones.
try and figure out like how many people's worth of bones it is.
investigation check.
Sure.
Probably a deer.
26.
26. It only looks like one person's
elk.
worth of bones.
It
Could it be
appears
an
to be a
elk?
corpse as previously described.
But I just wanted to make it clear it wasn't. This does not look like a corpse that's decayed. It's loose bones.
Those
Sort of
bones of one person.
woolly mammoth that's maybe...
No, that is a
Like
person.
a lighthouse keeper?
Person, creature.
Person.
Humanoid.
That is a
Humanoid.
person.
Well, let's go in the warm and...
Well, what if something ate the lighthouse keeper?
If it was to eat the lighthouse keeper, why would it not eat the food outside the lighthouse?
Well, maybe like...
Also, why is there food outside the lighthouse?
Should we be a bit quieter?
What, food?
Quiet,
Where?
quieter.
Oh, sorry.
I thought I saw movement around the front.
Quieter.
Maybe we should check around the front.
Maybe we should be quieter.
Are
If
you
you
going
like, I
to
could,
stealth?
Oh,
I could
that's a
quite
good
happily-
idea.
It's a stealth of 13, and it's not so much like whoop, because no, it's more of a just quiet and stillness.
I mean, it's 13. It's not that good.
Hey,
There's a storm. There is at least the cover of the sound of the storm. Steve, sorry, you said was not going to be doing something.
Yes, I was going to offer to go and check, but
You can always go with.
I
We'll be
I
hard to
think
catch
I would go with how windy is it?
It's not so much that you're basically getting blown off your feet, but you feel it, and sometimes walking is an effort. Like, it creates effort to actually move through it occasionally, but it's peaks and valleys. There is
Right,
still the
okay.
sound of thunder and the sound of lightning, which is now closer than it was before.
will you step ahead of me? I am an old person. I go slow.
Certainly, I am a very old person, but I go quick. I'll stealth in front then.
Guidance. More whispering.
Ooh, Paul.
I mean, it doesn't matter how quick I'm going, I'm going that.
Oh dear.
Oh no! I have to try again after a short rest.
Nah,
Just refreshing.
I mean, to be honest, what can you remember anything? Whether your stealth was stupidly high as to
It
make
was-
a 6 something good.
I can't remember.
Paper
I think it's
doesn't crash.
reasonably good.
Dexterity, and then whether it's proficient or not.
That's a 13.
Okay, so you both
Same
get
thing, yeah.
13. You can follow round if you want. What I quite like is that there's an image of you being quite slow and
slow and
just-
still. Yeah.
Slow and still. Joyous being slow and still, and then Mel being. How does Mel stealth?
I don't know, probably quite low and quick and slightly darting, but then kind of like it's kind of a quick movement and then a slight lull the other way kind of thing, and then off.
Okay.
Kind of not quite metronomic, but that kind of.
Yeah, and probably I guess it's doing it around Joyous because there's very little else. Like there's a few kind of rocks and stuff as you go down towards the actual coastline, but as you creep round, there's no one there. There are, however, about 5 continual flames that are just burning around the front of the lighthouse. In
the lighthouse?
No. Positioned outside the lighthouse, burning in the front.
Can I go and investigate one of them?
Sure.
Can I investigate the food?
18.
Well?
Sure. 18. What are you trying to find out?
Why are they where they are? What are they lighting?
With an 18,
yep.
All you can tell is this seems like someone wanted there to still be light.
Is the lighthouse not lit?
If with that investigation, I'll allow you to look up, and the actual lighthouse itself is not lit.
So this is a temporary measure.
Seems like that, but for some reason, someone's decided to put them out here rather than inside the lighthouse.
Can I draw conclusions from that and share them with the person I'm walking with?
Yeah, of course you can. And then we will get to food.
If I had to make a presumption, I think the inside of this lighthouse is dangerous, but these lights are being used to fulfill the same function.
Interesting. The problem we have, though, is that the outside of this lighthouse is getting increasingly dangerous.
You are correct. Danger within and danger without. Danger without we can see and we know. Danger within we cannot.
Whilst you're looking at the food, could you run me an investigation check? And what are you trying to find out about the food?
Well, it just doesn't seem very efficient to have wasted all this. 15.
15. What you realise looking at this, and it's harder with some of it because some of it is so rotten as to be unrecognisable. Some of it, however, it almost looks like. I mean, how do you say your character's name again? Subramanian. Subramanian won't have a concept of a glitch, but it's almost like there are 5 different meal options or 5 different food options that have just been duplicated multiple times and then left to rot.
Oh, that's a Chloe adventure.
I thought very much about how this would go from certain angles, but it's like someone.
So it's not like piles of potatoes, it's like a roast dinner and then another roast dinner and then...
Yes. Roll an Arcana check.
Lots of delicious, wasted roast dinners.
If this rings any bells. Are you kind of looking at the food and stuff?
Well, I'm still around the back.
How much is guidance? A D4?
D4.
A D4.
19.
19. There was this spell that you once saw someone use and you thought, oh, that seems quite efficient. Because they needed to create some food and water. And what the spell allowed them to do was create some food and water, which seems perfect. And weirdly, the makeup of some of this seems familiar to you. Now, that person ate all of their food and water that they created, like a good, responsible person. So you don't know what, but presumably it rots just like actual food. Maybe...
Like piles. Like
piles. Yeah. You'd estimate at least like weeks.
Are you
if
relaying?
Not erring into months.
Are you relaying this? Are you saying it out loud or are you just thinking it?
No, I was just muttering about efficiency. It's just terribly wasteful. Like all this delicious meals are here, and they've been thrown here. I saw someone once who could just make a whole load of meals, which was wonderful. But not if you're just gonna.
No, well, I can do that.
Okay, well, make a bunch of meals.
Well, not today, but yes, in general.
No, well, don't make sure
they
you
don't last. They go away after 24 hours if you don't eat them.
When they go away?
They disappear.
If you do eat them, do you still get the nutritional benefit?
Yes.
That's all right then.
But it wouldn't stay here and rot
if
you didn't
see.
eat it.
Because it's magical.
Yeah.
Oh, right. This is rather a lot of... I just don't understand. I mean, Has someone prepared this food? Do they have
No.
an in-house chef,
No.
perhaps?
No, I suspect what happened is someone cast a spell and it's gone wrong.
Oh, right. Oh, dear.
Are you round the front, kind of coming towards the back to meet back up, or?
Yeah.
Can I ask, is there any, are there any windows in the lighthouse at all?
Yes.
Like on the outside?
It looks like there's about 5 rows of windows that go up. They're quite small, probably only about this big, apart from in the lantern room, which is right at the top, which is loads of windows. At the moment, they look dirty enough that you can't really see through them. And there's only one set, and it seems like it's almost like 4 on each floor, because you've walked round.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
And they're all too grimy to look in.
Yes.
Up on the inside.
I mean, you can try, if you want, to look in on the ground floor.
I mean, you could take the ground floor, or I could go higher up.
Sorry, characters and thought. So,
Presumably, someone is casting the spell to keep the lights around the front of the lighthouse. Someone is coming. Presumably, can I have a quick... Is there food around the front as well, or just around the back?
No, it's kind of just generally around the lighthouse.
Generally around. Is some of the food old, is some of the food new?
Yes, there's
The newest food, how new is it?
The newest food,
Yes, can I...
incredibly recent.
Like it within a day?
You'd assume within like a couple of days or
Within
so.
a couple of days?
Yeah.
Because continual flame it's once every...
It's until
until
you
they
dismiss
start.
it.
Until you dismiss it,
It's
okay.
just it is very much continual.
But I would know because it's another spell that I can cast.
Great, I don't know that.
Presumably, the spell must be cast again for the lights to keep being there, and presumably the food must be being brought every day. Therefore, someone is maintaining this lighthouse outside a lighthouse.
That's excellent. We can wait for
We're
them.
not there. We're at the back.
Oh, well,
They're
we
at
come,
the front.
I mean, I'm just talking at Mel.
Because you
I thought they came
can
back.
start walking back round, but because you were suggesting about potentially climbing, I wasn't sure if you were staying around the front.
No, sorry. You can suggest things like windows, and I'll be in thought until you like literally grab me and say, "Let's look in windows."
Well, I'm just going to look in the
Yeah.
ground floor window
Sure,
and see if I can see anything.
cool.
And then-
I'll allow that you're basically like coming
Yeah.
further
fine.
background, and there is a window on the way. Could you roll me a perception check at disadvantage, because it is a grimy window.
Grimy.
How's the new phone working out for you, Steve?
Oh, it's so good. It's so hot, my fingerprints have melted.
All right, we will take a break very shortly.
Thank you. I am 9/10 sweat.
You just don't need to know. The rest of us just keeping it to
What am I doing?
ourselves.
3,
Perception, but a disadvantage, so twice, and the lower number. Oh.
That's a 7 and a 6.
Ooh.
So, that's a 9.
What you can see is that there's a room inside there. There's some boxes and some crates. It looks like an absolute mess. That's kind of all you really get, is there is an absolute mess in there.
Okay, I would,
Sorry.
I would relay that to Joyce, and say I might try for a different vantage point. Rest my quartz staff against the side of the wall for a second and take off the overcoat. Underneath the overcoat, you see suddenly unflapping 2 large bat wings. Kind of a deeper lavender in the middle, and then the spiny bits are kind of fade up to white. And also the flash of colour. So there are small, kind of very tight bracelets made out of just thin strands of cotton.
Yes.
Of all different colours, all the way up both arms. One completely up around the shoulder, the other one up to like an inch below. And each strand has a small silver little
Clasp.
round kind of thing hanging off it. Slightly jingles. And so he'll lean his quarterstaff up, hang up his overcoat, flap the wings. I'm just going to try and use them and just General Monk to climb up to the first floor.
General Monk.
General Monk.
Sure.
Just to kind of
Roll me a dex unless you've got any particular skills regarding climbing and monkness.
Stroke Watson's chin.
I think less shared ancestry and just more of it.
And you're looking at the first floor.
See, I'm not good at using this because I could use Step of the Wind to get up there, but that seems like
You
a
can
waste of
fly with those
key
wings, can't you?
points. Yes, I know, but also I checked on the state of the wind earlier.
Ah, yes.
Yes, and I was thinking
Yeah, it's unpredictable.
using to anchor and give me maneuverability and
If
help.
you step with the wind, how tall is the lighthouse?
The lighthouse itself
Yes.
is about 100 feet. So windows are at intervals of about 20 to kind of 15, between 15 and 20 feet.
Yeah, you can't get all the way to the top, so you'd have to, even with a dash.
Well, I'll just try the first. I'll just
Yeah, I'm happy for you to
dex
try
for
it,
the dex
yeah.
up to the first, rather than use a key point there. Oh, that's a saving throw. That's not what I want. 13, just general dex.
Okay, it's not the most graceful thing.
It's the wind.
After that beautiful description of your character and everything that they
It's the
were.
wind. It's like, what? Whoa!
Yeah, occasionally the wind actually having your wings out has really screwed you up, and like they just kind of catch like an awkward umbrella. And then you manage to get up to the first floor. Roll me a perception check. This one not at disadvantage because it's not quite as messy as previous.
Oh, it's an 18 on the dice, and I keep on shutting off my phone because
Stop
I'm an
turning it off.
idiot.
Can I roll a history check on the...
Can we?
On those items.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've got something I'd really like to do as
Sure.
well.
Sure. Do you mind if I can save it?
That's all right. We'll come back to that in a moment,
No
kind of
problem.
when you're closer to Steve's character. We'll
Yeah,
do
no
this,
problem.
and then whatever Emma wants to do.
21.
21, cool. You managed to angle yourself so that like it's like, oh, the lower half of the window is cleaner than the top half of the window, and you look in, and what you can see is there's a few odd things in this space. There's a large table. You can see a handful of chairs. You can see a series of buckets. You can see 4 what look to be like locked boxes on this table of a mixture of wood and stone. Additionally, you can see scrawlings on the floor that look to be in chalk. You can't really discern any particular shape or pattern to them, but they are obviously very deliberate. Again, quite messy. There is a ladder you can just see going up to the next level, but from your little vantage point here, that's what you'd kind of guess. You'd think maybe this used to be a kitchen or some such. You can see the corner of what might be a burner in the corner.
Okay.
Are you going to kind of
I'll
head down?
climb back down
Yep.
and again relay all that to Joyce.
Allow that. What did you want to do as a latter?
The pile of bones.
Uh-huh.
Are there clothes?
No.
There's nothing with it.
Nope.
There's
Just
Too
bones.
long, but too
There's
long
no
gone.
like symbols or symbology.
It's just bones. It's very eerily just the bones are left from
Okay.
whatever happened.
And can I roll, just because I can cast Create Food and Water,
Mm-hmm.
can I roll an Arcana check using Wisdom instead of Intelligence, because it's my spellcasting mod,
Sure.
to see if this is Create Food and Water that's gone wrong?
Sure.
It's
Ooh.
a natural 20 anyway,
Yes.
but...
I mean, Anata is spot on. This is someone who has used the spell Create Food and Water, but something has weirdly warped the fact that rather than disappearing after 24 hours, it has stayed and it has rotted.
You were right about the person using the spell, but it's definitely gone wrong.
That's unfortunate. Should we go knock? I feel like we should go knock. See
I
if
feel like
anyone's
we should
home.
absolutely not go knock.
Oh, really? I want to go inside, though.
Just as you say that, you take 3 points of damage as a lightning bolt that has been getting closer and closer and closer just boom
What are the chances?
and hits you. I know. I'm sorry. I did do some rolling behind the screen.
Well, I was very alarmed about all that.
Oh,
rolling.
lightning
It was
bolt.
very
Oh,
alarming.
that's how much.
Nice.
So as you kind of scramble back down from having seen the little bits and pieces that are inside of there, and as you have slowly walked your way back round after seeing the continual flame at the front.
As I was saying, we should not knock, we should just go straight in.
It is dangerous out here. We should head inside.
Yes, that's what I was just saying. We shouldn't knock, we should just go straight in.
Ananta is correct.
Nothing's stopping you.
I'm not hit by lightning.
This is magic gone totally wrong. This is create food and water that's just multiplying.
Fascinating.
So there must be a cleric or a wizard here somewhere.
If I stay in this exact spot, will I be okay?
No, that's not how it works at all.
Ananta, please bring her inside, would you?
Do I have to?
Yes.
Who's going in?
I'm sort of walking towards the door, but I am slow.
Yeah. Is anyone cutting in front of Joyce?
No, I'm going to walk behind Joyce and push.
Push. Are you following on behind?
I would have kind of. I imagine I'm probably at the tail end of the group then.
Yep.
If I've been climbing up walls.
Cool.
Can I
Chris.
roll a history check on fucking arm things?
Yes, sure. You can roll a history check on the arm things now. You're getting a little bit closer.
What arm things?
19.
Is this something that is a cultural thing that someone would feasibly know about on a wider scale, or is this incredibly personal to you?
It's incredibly personal to me.
It's very distinctively something that a person has done, not a cultural practice. If you wanted to know more about it, you'd have to talk to Mel.
It's just more intriguing.
Opening the door?
Joyce, go faster. Faster, faster, faster. Faster, faster.
Ananta, please.
It's a little bit awkward to open because it's a tiny bit frozen at the bottom, but it actually doesn't really take much because the door itself is very weak.
I step to the side.
If you wouldn't mind.
Wait, do I have to go first? Fine.
Yeah, it's genuinely doesn't even take a check to get through. Are you stepping through?
I feel like I should let the people with more hit points go first.
I do think we should probably just knock so that we can say we knocked if anyone...
Go!
Thank you, alright.
Okay, you've knocked.
Stagger into the lighthouse.
Could you please roll me a d4? 2. Cool. Nothing happens. You enter into this room. The rest of you can follow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And close the door behind.
Closed door behind. You see basically a room that is, as kind of described loosely in the attempts to look into it before, it's incredibly messy. You just see kind of boxes and knickknacks and books and chairs and things just stacked up. There's no artificial light, and the light coming from the windows is incredibly dark because it's incredibly dirty. And additionally, there are chalk marks all over the floor that seem to be in patches and circles and such like.
Legible? Any kind of arcane symbology?
No arcane symbology. And just before we stop for our break, you hear creaks coming from the floors above. And then we're going to stop there so that we can open some windows.
Oh my god, yes, please do that.
Yes. We will take just like a 5-10 minute break and then we will be right back. And we're going to stop streaming and we're going to